Three world records in South Africa and the Netherlands made last weekend very, very memorable. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Peter Busch, and welcome to the Morning Swim Show. This is Monday, April 20th, 2009. The show is brought to you today by Tier, always in front. We'll get to those world records in just a second, and later in the show, we'll talk to the director of Longhorn Aquatics, who won the USA Swimming Club Excellence team title for the 6th straight year. But first, we want to let you know you can get involved with our show as much as possible. Those watching our live stream, which takes place at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time every weekday, can send instant messages to us via AOL or Yahoo Instant Messenger. Just look for the username Morning Swim Show, and we just might read your comments on the show. So let's start with those world records. In Netherlands, Marleen Veldhuis became the first woman to set two individual world records in the same day when she took down the 50 fly and 50 free world records. The only man to accomplish the same feat is none other than Michael Phelps. He broke the 100 fly, 200 IM records at the 2003 World Championships. Back to Veldhuis, who you see swimming right now. The Dutch sprinter started the Saturday finals of the Amsterdam Cup with a 25.33 in the 50 fly. The time erased the 25.46 set in 2007 by Sweden's Therese Alshammar. Now, Veldhuis came back about an hour later to swim the 50 free. She broke away from the field easily, and she touched the wall in 23.96, shaving 1/100th of a second off that world record, which was owned by Australia's Libby Trickett. And as you can see here at the finish, Veldhuis, well, she wasn't exactly expecting to break two world records in one day. Let's just watch the finish here for a second. And there you see her touch. And the look of surprise is always a thing of beauty. Well, now let's move on to the South African Nationals, where Cameron van der Burgh proved he can contend in a long course pool as well. Van der Burgh already owned the short course world records in the 50 and 100 breaststrokes. But now he's got the 50 meters long course mark as well. In the semifinals of that event on Friday, the South African swam a 27.06 to beat Oleg Lisker's 27.18, which was done all the way back in 2002. And just a reminder, Van der Burgh is scheduled to join us here on the Morning Swim Show this Wednesday, so get those questions ready. And there was a near world record of the Japanese nationals in the men's 200 back. Leisuke Irie swam a 154.02 in the 200 back to come within 8/100ths of a second of Ryan Lochte's world record from the Olympics. Irie had been touted as one of the medal contenders in the event in Beijing, only managed a 5th place finish in the finals. Irie was under world record pace at the 50, fell off in the middle 100, and then made a charge in the final 50, outsplitting Lochte's final 50 by 2/10. Right now, Irie is by far the fastest man of the year in this event. The Japanese men won 3 medals in Beijing. 2 of them were won by Kitajima in the breaststrokes and the other in the medley relay, which Kitajima played a large part in. But those Japanese guys looking pretty strong so far. They've got the top times in both backstroke events and the 200 fly. Obviously, some of the swimming powers like the U.S., Russia, and Germany still have big meets coming up later this summer. And viewers of the Morning Swim Show and readers of our stories at swimmingworldmagazine.com have been quite vocal about the records over the past few weeks. And our associate producer, Jeff Cummings, joins us now to share some of those comments. Jeff?
Well, Peter, it's really interesting to read these comments after people break records or get really close to records. And one of the things that really intrigued me was from the Spanish National Cups that went on last week. And Caraballo Alvarez and Sergio Garcia both came within about a second of Ed Moses' 200 breast short course world record, which he's had since 2004. And that short course world record is 2:02.92. Now, what is most interesting is that nobody's ever been that close to that record. And so we had a comment that came here from Joe Bob, who says, man, it makes you appreciate Moses' 202 that much more, especially, you know, with the new suits coming up and the onslaught of all the new breaststrokers that are coming through. That 202.92 still hasn't been touched.
Here's my take. Any record that was set prior to the spring of 2008 should be appreciated that much more because of it. Any record that's still standing that was set 2007 or earlier, those guys were awesome. Any more?
Yeah, and speaking of records that were set before 2007, we had a message left on our phones over the weekend right after Marleen Veldhuis almost got Inga de Brown's 100 fly world record. And Mike from Orlando is the one who left a message, and he asked, is Inga de Brown's 100 fly world record the only record that's lasted since the suits were released? And if you just want to stick with the Olympic events, then the answer is yes. Her 100 fly, which she broke at the 2000 Olympics, is the only record of all the Olympic events that hasn't been broken yet.
Yeah, because Janet Evans still had her record until the Olympics.
That's right.
And that was like 20 years old. But, well, just makes you appreciate that one much more. Any others?
Yeah, we got one more that was on a story about the Japanese nationals, and everybody was talking about all the rise of the Japanese swimmers, and not just that 200 fly and then the 100 back and 200 back, but just across the board. And a reader named Blastoff said, swimming is getting faster, period. New swimmers come up through the ranks and want to swim fast. Yes, there is a boost from these suits, but in time things will level out. Frankly, it seems to me that swimming has not been this exciting ever, and I really do have to agree with him.
I would agree with that. Well, every sport, I make the argument that every sport progresses in time. It's just nature. It doesn't mean that the swimmers 20, 30 years ago were any worse, but the way you're supposed to measure, in my opinion, athletes is how they did against their own generation. So I think it's great that times are faster than ever. I don't think it all has to do with the suits. I think even if there weren't suits, there'd be a ton of world records being broken because that's just the way this goes. Jeff, thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
And that's it for the news today. After the break, we'll return to the U.S., talk to the director of the most successful club team in the country.